The next thing I want to talk to you about is referential integrity. Referential integrity is another form of data validation. It comes into play when you're setting up a relationship between two tables and you want to make sure that the data in those tables is compatible with each other and true. Let me explain what I mean by showing you a simple demonstration. Here I have our student table, and let's say that I want to create another table of advisors so that every student is assigned to an advisor and they can go and see that person when they need some help with getting a schedule together. Well, I'm going to create an advisor table, and I will go straight to Table Design View, and I'm going to make this Advisor ID. Now, Advisor ID, I'm going to set up as auto number. As you know, this is going to make sure that every time I enter a record, it just puts in a number. So the first record will be 1, the second record will be 2, like that. And this is going to be my primary key. So I'm going to click on my field and put on the primary key. You can see the little key show up there. The primary key's job is to be unique. There's really no other use for it. Now, in the student table, the primary key is the student's social security number. When you have a piece of data that you're already collecting that is unique, like a social security number, you can use that as a naturally occurring primary key. But with an advisor table, we may or may not have something unique. We are not going to be keeping track of an advisor's social security number, and it is vaguely possible that we could have two advisors named Bob Smith or Tina Jones or something like that. So I'm just going to put in a primary key here to take care of that job for me without having to think about it too much. I'm also going to keep track of my advisor's last name, and I'm typing in the field and then tab, tab, tab with my finger, and then first name, tab, 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 and then I will keep track of, let's see, one more thing, let's say phone extension. And this is going to be text. Remember what I said, you don't want to make it number even if it's just going to hold numbers, because it might also hold I could put in an X, extension 324, and also because if you're not going to be doing a calculation with that number, then it doesn't really make sense. And with a phone extension, you're not going to say phone extension times 10% or minus a discount or phone extension plus something else. So since it's not going to be used in a calculation, even if it did just hold numbers, you would want to make it text. Now, one piece of data validation I could do here is I could say all of the college's phone extensions are only 4 digits, so I'm just going to make the field size of 4. That makes sure that somebody doesn't accidentally type in something wrong. Doesn't prevent all data going in wrong, but it helps. Okay, well, I am going to save my table and I'm going to call it advisors. And now I'm ready to set up the relationship between these two tables. I haven't put in any advisors, and I haven't created a foreign key in students yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the relationship window and show you how I'm getting ready to do what's necessary to make this relationship. So database tools and relationships. And my student table is already in here, but I need to add my advisor table. So I'm going to click the Show Table dialog box, and I'm going to add advisors and then close this. So here's my advisor table and here's my student table. Now I've got the primary key in here already, and of course students has its own primary key. But when you create a relationship between two tables, it doesn't happen between the two primary keys unless you're in a one-to-one situation. But we don't do very much of that, especially in this class. In this class, 99.9% of the relationships that we create are between a primary key and a foreign key. That means it's a one-to-many relationship. The primary key is here. It's already in this table. This is going to be the one side of a relationship. And I need a foreign key in the student table to be the many side. Why do I? Because one advisor will have many students. Many students will go to the same one advisor. And let me say it a different way. One record in the advisor table will relate to many records in the students table. many records in the students table will relate to one record in the advisors table. So this is going to be on the one side and this is going to be on the many side. Well, in order to have a many side key here, I need a foreign key that takes the name from the primary key and has a same or compatible data type. Well, let me tell you what I'm talking about. You know how we just created this table and the field? The data type of this field was auto number. So what gets stored when I put fields in, when I enter records, is the number 1, number 2, number 3, so numbers. So I need this data type for the foreign key I have over here to be one that will hold numbers, and I want it to have the exact same name. So I'm going to go into my student table in Design View and I'm going to put in Advisor ID, just like in the primary key of the other table, and I'm going to make it a number data type. Whoops. And now I'm going to save this and close. So now you can see here's my foreign key. It's all ready to make a relationship between the primary key and the foreign key. I'm going to drag from one to the other. It doesn't matter which direction you drag. I see both tables here with the same field name, and I'm going to ask it to enforce referential integrity and create the join. Now it worked perfectly because I did make sure that these had compatible data types. Not only did this one have to be a number because this one was a number data type, but also if you look at if you look at the advisor table in Design View, this number data type has a field size of long integer, and my student foreign key for advisor ID has to have the same. So it really is absolutely essential in order to make a relationship happen between two tables that the foreign key has the same or compatible data type as the primary key. If this had been text, this would need to be text. If this had been number, this would need to be number. And since this is auto number and it's going to hold numbers, this has to be number. So text, text, number, number, auto number, number. And I'll expect you to remember that. Okay, I'm going to save the relationship I just created and I'm going to close this. I am now able to enter some advisors, and I'm going to just put in 3. So I'll do myself, X345. I'll do Smith, Bob, extension 202, and I'll do Chan, Cho. I know somebody named Cho Chan. I use them all the time. And X505. Okay, so there are my 3 advisors. Each student could get assigned to Advisor 1, Advisor 2, or Advisor 3. If I want a student to work with Bob Smith, I have to say that they're going to work with Advisor number 2. Let me close this and let me open up the student table. And here's Ronnie. I want Ronnie to work with Bob, so when it comes to the Advisor ID field, I'm going to put in number 2. If I want somebody else to work with me, I'll put in number 1. I could put in 1, 2, or 3 here, and it goes in fine. What happens if I try to say that somebody's going to work with advisor number 4? Oh, I get an error message. It says you cannot add or change a record because a related record is needed in the advisors table. In other words, I don't have an advisor number 4, and this is referential integrity at work. It says don't do that. It won't be the truth. So I'll take that out. I'll choose a 1, 2, or 3. Now, honestly, this isn't the easiest way to enter data in a foreign key, because what if I can't remember who is 1, who is 2, who is 3, and maybe it matters and I do want them to specifically work with me or somebody else. Well, I'm going to show you in an upcoming video how to pick better. But for right now, that's the way to establish referential integrity between two tables. The last thing I want to say is that I purposely did not put in any data into my advisor table until I'd already set up the relationship. And the truth is, when you're creating a database from scratch, you're going to design your tables and create the relationships, enforcing referential integrity, and then after that, and only after that, will you put in data, because you want the data to go in properly using all the data validation you can.